Yep, left. Come on in.
We have them all.
Testing.
Let's show the exercise.
Filming. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm here with 𝘠𝙁𝙧 𝙈𝙪𝙧. We're going to show you the top 3 gymnast core exercises that everybody can do and that you can do if you choose the right progression. Let's get to the video. Let's go. All right, family, we're gonna be doing this a little bit different in a sense that I'm just gonna be having a conversation with Adam. That way he can speak as much as he wants about the whole body, which is the first exercise. And I'm gonna be talking about as much as I want about that exercise. That way you guys can get some new information that you probably haven't seen on my channel and you haven't seen on his channel. I try to keep it short, but ideally you get as much information as possible. So yeah, the first exercise is going to be the hollow body hold.
So this is the hollow body hold, an excellent exercise for all training levels. Even if you're a beginner or advanced, you will always benefit from this exercise. Okay, you can rest because I know you're tired. So I have 2 ideas and 2 thoughts that I want to share with you guys. The first is an example that I never shared with anyone. And this is the airplane example. So imagine, like, it's this is not the body of the airplane. You have to actually imagine that this is the airplane and the 2 sides, the legs and the upper body, are only the wings of the airplane. And if you think about it, this is the body of the plane. And if it's weak here, then the 2 wings just fall apart and the whole plane is gone. You have to be strong here at the core to be able to lift your legs up and lift your upper body up. So you see that Gabo is pressing his lower back to the ground. That's the most stable position, and that's what you need in most of the exercises, and we'll talk about that later. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's the one thing that it's never going to be comfortable. So one thing you can do when you're not able to hold a full hollow body hold and your lower back is elevating from the ground, you can just shorter the wings of the airplane, so shorter the leverage. This way, actually, if you have a perpendicular, like 90-degree angle between your trunk and your legs, then your hips will be automatically in the posterior pelvic tilt. So from here, you just need to pay attention to elevate your back, so your scapulas should not touch the ground. Here you have maximal contraction. Try to breathe and extend, like do an advanced tuck. And you can bring your arms just right next to your ears, and then you can extend the whole body. Do straddle first, and then do the full hollow body hold with pressing your lower back to the ground. That's the most important part.
How would you make it harder after you master the hollow body hold?
Oh, so to make it harder, a really good exercise is the hollow body rocks. When you do, when you're rocking on your back and forth, this is the exercise. You can still do it in tuck. Just do it like it's gonna be a shorter range, but when you do the full one, it's gonna be actually much more difficult. Yeah, all right.
He probably covered pretty much everything that I would like to cover about the whole body hold, but there are a few little mistakes. The first one, just to get it out of the way, just people rush. So let's get into a tuck with your arms overhead. If you can see, his spine is super flexed, so you can flex it a little bit more. Don't be too easy on yourself. What people tend to do is they extend their legs, and this starts to extend, their spine starts to extend, and even having the low back in contact with the ground, you are not fully flexing your abs and your spine, and you're defying the purpose of the exercise. That's why people call this a super easy exercise. I can hold it for like 2 minutes, and it's like, are you really getting the benefits of the exercise? So this might work if you are doing some handstand work, some handstand alignment work, but if you really want to work your core and transfer it more to like front lever and stuff, you really want to have that full curvature of the thoracic spine, especially the thoracic spine with the lumbar spine pressing down. The second mistake is going to be that people close their arms. No, That's a good progression. But people simply close their arms like right here. I don't know why. It's a way of they trying to flex their spine, but they're simply closing their arms. You can rest a little bit. So what you want to imagine yourself up if you are doing the hands overhead, so bring your arms overhead, is imagine your arms fully connected to your torso and everything move as one single piece up. The neck doesn't crunch forward, the arms doesn't go forward, everything just move with the spine. So the spine is the actual joint that is moving. Take a break. And the last one would be get into that position one more time. The full one.
Thank you.
Get into the full one. And since we're flexing on the lower ab, we have a tendency to simply pike at the hips. Maybe this is an exaggeration, so people start right here. What I want you to do is use your glutes to press the legs down without losing here. So if he pressed down, losing here, that's how it's gonna look. So you simply bring the feet down and then you arch. We don't want that extension on the lumbar spine, but we do want hip extension. We wanna open the psoas muscle. So we fully engage our abs, then we extend the legs and we push the feet down basically 1 inch from the floor. This is what really going to mimic that straight line that we want in the dragon flag as well as in the front level. That's pretty much it. Yeah, so just respect the progressions. Really don't rush. Make sure the spine is fully flexed. You're able to create that full line. It is harder than you think. It is harder than I thought in the beginning. And spend enough time in the position. Don't move on to the next one until you can accumulate at least 30 seconds. We recommend 30 because you're gonna be building a lot of endurance and it's gonna transfer more. Let's go quickly through all the progressions. 3, 2, 1. You begin on tuck, arms to your side, fully flex, and imagine that the knees are pressing up. So you're really creating that posterior pelvic tilt and you're in your abs. The second one would be with your arms overhead. The next one will be straddle, but with your arms forward. The next one will be a straddle, but with your arms overhead. The last one will be full, but with your arms forward. And the last one will be full, but with your arms overhead. Make sure you spend enough time on each position. We'll see you on the next one.
All right, guys. The next exercise is going to be the plank.
The boring exercise, the easy plank that everybody can hold for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I don't think so. So, you remember I talked about the airplane with the 2 wings, and in the middle you had the supporting point on your lower back, and you had the 2 wings. Now it's going to be different because we have 2 supporting points, the feet and the elbows. And the same way you need to be strong here with your core. It's also an anterior chain exercise, and it has a few key points. So let's see a neglected scapula position first. Just lose your posture, because you need to depress and abduct the scapulas. Yeah. Just do like a scapula push-up so they will see the point. Yeah, so depression and adduction, which is shoulder protraction, and you trying to push the ground from your shoulders. It's worth to keep the shoulders above the elbows. So if you're backward or forward, it's not going to be optimal. Actually, it's going to be more difficult if you go further. It's going to be like a long push-up hold, but it's more beginner-friendly and alignment-friendly for the push-ups and later for the planche if you do it this way. The other key point is the posterior pelvic tilt, which we talked about before. If you do it with anterior pelvic tilt, it looks like this. Your glutes are loosened, your lower abs are not engaged, so you have to do the opposite and also maintain that position. The best if you can keep your legs closed, straight, tight, and if you do it in straddle, because actually you can, if you have problems with the hip flexion or the hip tilt we just talked about, if you have shortened hip flexors, then it can be a problem with closed legs. It's pretty difficult to do the posterior pelvic tilt if you have issues. In this case, you can do straddle or just close your legs. Cool. Gabo, it's your turn. I think I explained myself.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Thank you. So, I mean, just getting the position, we're just going to keep adding to whatever you said, because everything you said was amazing.
Thank you.
So let's just get into the position. You held me there for like 2.5 minutes, so I'm just going to hold you there. So first thing I want to show is actually his hands. He's right now into like a bit of internal rotation with his arms. I want his arms or his hands aligned with his elbows. So to the outside, as much as I want the elbow aligned with the shoulder. Now, not too many people are gonna be able to get here because that requires some external rotation stability. Just do your best and just simply don't be here, please. So do an effort to do this. Something that you can do is actually place a band right here, and even with a supination and open the band right here. We'll put some clicks somewhere on the screen. This is gonna allow you to create some strength on those external rotators. You want a full protraction and full depression of the shoulder blades. A very, very common mistake is that people protraction, but then they exaggerate the depression. So they bring the depression down, and when beginners especially do that, they tend to sink down. So it's just the right amount of protraction, and it's just the right amount of depression so you feel stable. It's not about fully protracting and fully depressing, because that doesn't create a stability, which is what we want the most. We can rest a little bit. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
It was a little bit. My sweat is just...
I just wanted to give you a little break. So as he said, we are in a posterior pelvic tilt. I also want to push the hips down. Just like in the hollow body, we bring the feet down, we push the hips down. We do this again to open the hips and create a straight line, because most people are gonna posterior pelvic tilt, posterior, but they're gonna be raising their hips up, and we don't want this shape. This is a different type of plank, not for what we want. So we create the posterior pelvic tilt, and we push the hips down to create that straight line, and even lower if you see those planches with that little extension on the hips. We put some clips, some here. Next one is going to be your feet. We want actually pointed feet. This is going to stretch this part of the feet. It also creates some instability in the position. It just looks nicer. It just makes everything harder in the position, and it's more transferable to everything that we're working on. Get back on that. Get back on there. Get back on there. Another one that doesn't really talk about that much, but it's pretty common, is people don't engage their quads. So the knees are slightly bent, and it looks like a crappy broken plank. At the beginning, I got from many of my beginner clients, you're actually gonna get sore on your quads before you actually get sore on your core. That's because it's really hard to be completely fully straight. So full attention on the scapula, full attention on the core, full attention on your glutes and your abs for the posterior pelvic tilt, full attention on your quads, pointed feet, heels together, not only legs together, but heels together, that create that perfectly nice straight line.
It was like 3 minutes.
Huh? That was like a minute. That was like a minute and a half. I mean, we could talk about an hour about plank. If you want that, let us know in the comment section down below. But let's move on to the next one.
That's the dragon flag. That's the third, and in our opinion, it has the place in the top 3 straight body gymnastics exercises. And in my opinion, this is the top of the iceberg. This is the peak of the straight body position exercises, because if you can do a full dragon flag, you're the closest for the front lever, which is a desired exercise for many people. You have to add many things to that, so it's not automatic. It's not going to be a magic that you have the dragon flag and then you can do the front lever, but
I can speak by experience. Yeah.
So core-wise, you will be really close. We talked about the...
Why?
What, why?
Why?
Why we are close?
Why it's so close to the front lever?
Yeah, because in the progressions, if you do it with wall bars or just a pole you have, and you just grab it the classic way, then your body is fully extended and you can get pretty much in the same position. You're not going to be able to do like a horizontal, fully horizontal.
You can.
You can if you have
A bench.
A bench. That's it.
So, and we're back.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, we talked about the hip position, and we just had a conversation before about this.
Want to show that?
Yeah. So in the hollow body hold, we talked about the full posterior pelvic tilt, which is a pretty flexed position, as Gabo discussed. It was a great example that your spine is flexing and your whole body is flexing. But when you do the dragon flag, you actually want to have like a really straight body position. And if you come lower, you will see that his body is really straight. and the hip is not in full posterior pelvic tilt because that would be more flexed, but in like a neutral position, which you need to, okay, calm down, because I know it's really hard. So you don't have to maintain that position, but this is a prerequisite of being able to maintain this one because you need more body awareness. It's in between the flexion and extension. You definitely don't want to extend it, but have like a neutral position that you can control, you can breathe and everything. What you would add?
I said that Bruce Lee extended it, and many people begin to extend it for some reason. Yeah. I mean, it probably has some applications, but I'm not going to say it's dangerous, but it doesn't actually does the purpose of the exercise, which is creating that straight body line. Yes, there are some front levers that with an arch back, but ideally a front lever, like you said, is with a neutral spine, whatever neutral means. Yeah. But again, not full posterior pelvic tilt, and just the intention of that posterior pelvic tilt just to activate the abs. And again, you know the feet down that we talk about on the whole body hold. The same applies to the dragon flag, because you're going to be seeing that. Actually, your turn, bro.
Yeah. And you can talk about the hip situation, the hip flexor.
Yeah, hip flex. So you're gonna see, especially as he comes up. So let's go up, down, and then up. Especially as he comes up, if he's not opening the hips, meaning putting the feet down and engaging the glutes and creating that straight body line, as he comes down, just come down normally, come up and pike. This is very common.
Yeah.
This is, you can relax now. That is normally not a matter of flexibility, although it could be, but it's usually you simply shortening the lever, shortening the position to make it easier to just come up. It's the same happens on a front lever when you see that little housey front lever, if that a thing.
It's like a compensation of weakness.
It's a compensation of weakness. So you don't have a weak core, you simply have a weak lats. In this case, you have a weak core and probably also weak lats, which doesn't allow you to be fully straight. That's a mistake when we come up. Now the mistake when we come down is that we tend to arch. So can we show that? Mistake when we come down is that we tend to arch. The same is happening. The lever is getting shorter. The abs are losing the contraction, and the exercise just becomes easier, and I would argue more dangerous. It's a cheat. So what most people tend to do is a combination of both. So can you arch and pike?
Oh, okay.
So what people tend to do is they come down, they arch, they don't even get to the bottom, and then they pike. And then, I mean, he's exaggerating, but something like that. Can you pike a little bit less? Can you pike a little bit less? So you come down, and then you pike a little bit, and that's enough just to make the exercise easier and think that you have a full dragon flag, and you don't. That's the reality of it. So again, just like the hollow body hold, you want to respect the progressions. Don't do dragon flags if you don't have at least 30 seconds of a hollow body hold, because that's really a progression to transfer that. You cannot expect to come up and down using your lats without first being able to just hold that position on the floor. Yeah. You have anything to add there?
I think these are the essentials, and we don't want to talk too much.
Yeah, we don't want to talk too much. We're just going to add a few things. We might cut them, we might not cut them. The first one is how low should you go? So maybe let me demonstrate that, and then you talk about that. It is okay not to go all the way down, but eventually you really want to get to the deepest position that you can go. So you told me if I'm going too low, too fast. So most people, go.
Yeah, this is actually pretty good, but here comes the point when what we talked about. If you have a bench, you can actually go to the horizontal, but if you don't go to the horizontal here, most people will arch at the bottom. So I would say if you have like 2 feet, maybe that's 2 feet, and if you can do that, that's perfectly fine if you do it on the floor. But if you have a bench and if you do that, you can go horizontal, and it's pretty much similar to the front lever hold.
Just remember that the horizontal is the hardest progression per se, because you're horizontal. So just do that after you have built enough reps here. In terms of the anchor point, they can use a pole.
So wall bars, a pole, and even at home, you can use a towel.
So that's about it?
Yeah,
right.
It's pretty cool.
So Guys, if you want to check Adam's programs, all the information again is down in the description. We are coming with part 2 only if you really smash that like button and you get this video to quite enough views and quite enough likes. So if we see that you guys are interested in this topic, he'll come to the studio again and we'll film part 2 for the 3 core compression exercises for gymnastics, now focusing more on V-sit, handstand presses, and just getting that compression strength. So if you like that, leave it in the comment section down below. And with that being said, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, subscribe to Adam's channel if you haven't already.
And hopefully see you in the next one.
We'll see you in the next one.